hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Good afternoon. I hope everybody is doing fine today. Let me adjust my volume here. Thank you, Squirrel. We got a nice weather day today, I think, because the stock market has decided to show itself versus my weather app. I don't know why. I guess okay. It just thinks I need to know that. Well, the temperature is 81 degrees Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy. No, I never know why I say that to y'all because we're not in the same places. Huh. Guess I just feel like saying it. I don't know. Well, today we're going to start a little series, just a little series. And we're going to start that little series with a little bit of, I don't want to use that word, excitement for some, not excitement for others. I think when this incident happened, it was the first wake-up call that things like this happen in America. And we're talking about the Oklahoma City bombing. So on April 19th, 1995, in the morning, an ex-Army soldier and security guard named Timothy McVeigh parked a rider, rent a truck. The company name is Ryder, and you rent them to move your storage, your furniture and stuff like that. Well, he parked it in front of the Alfred P. Murray Federal Building, downtown in Oklahoma City. He was about to commit mass murder. That was his intent for today when he rented this. And that's inside the vehicle was a powerful bomb made out of a deadly cocktail of not foreign parts, not ordered on the internet, just average, everyday parts. A cocktail of agricultural fertilizer, diesel fuel, and other chemicals. McVeigh got out, he locked the door, and headed towards his getaway car. He ignited a one-time fuse and then another. And at precisely 9:02, the bomb exploded. As you see here from this diagram showing the they say failure boundaries, but this is what it, the layout of what it connected with on the buildings. And this dark spot in the front is a bomb creator. It created a hole in the ground itself. Um, Within moments, the area surrounding looked like a war zone. A third building had been reduced to rubble. A third of the building had been reduced to rubble. Let me correct myself on that. Um, with many floors flattened like pancakes, dozens of cars were incinerated. More than 300 nearby buildings were damaged or destroyed. This was a massive, massive bomb that he created. Now, the human toll was still very devastating. In fact, it was even more devastating than the physical buildings. 168 souls were lost, including 19 children, with several hundred more injured. Um, I really don't think that we can grasp those numbers, even looking at the building, um, because it was the deadliest act of a homegrown terrorist in the United States. Um, and that includes the children in the souls that were lost. It was the worst act of uh, homegrown terrorism in our entire history, and coming on the heels of the World Trade Center bombing in New York 2 years earlier, the media and many Americans assumed that the attack was the handiwork of the Middle Eastern terrorists. See, that's part of the problem. We cannot always blame everything on the Middle East. There are Americans in this country who don't agree with the federal government. They don't agree with things that are happening from our federal government. Um, and the things that they want uh, is a much more, I guess you could say, America of the past, the way things were or used to be. And I'm more worried about that happening more today than even when Timothy McVeigh done it, because the world is such out of control. Um, America is out of control. Uh, the FBI, um, this is another layout of how it all went. I can't zoom this up. I tried to get it closer for you guys. And I'm trying really hard not to show anything that's just graphic. It's hard not to be graphic. The FBI, meanwhile, quickly arrived at the scene and began supporting rescue efforts and investigating the facts. Beneath the pile of concrete, a twisted seal, were clues, and the FBI was determined to find them. And it didn't take long. On April 20th, the rear axle of the Ryder truck was located, which yielded a vehicle identification number, and that was traced to a body shop in Junction City, Kansas. See, you just never know where a clue is going to come from, because vehicles have markings everywhere in the least likely places. Employees at the body shop helped the FBI quickly put together a composite drawing of the man that rented the van. Agents showed the drawing around town, and local employees supplied the name, Tim McVeigh. And this is the drawing that you see is the drawing that a day after the bombing, the FBI released a sketch. Um, and the suspect was Timothy McVeigh. And it's a pretty good likeness of him. Uh, I, I don't think they're ever, spot on, but it's a pretty good likelihood, likeness. A quick call to the Bureau's Criminal Justice Information Service division in West Virginia on April 21st led an astonishing discovery. McVeigh was already in jail. He had been pulled over about 80 miles north of Oklahoma City by an observant Oklahoma state trooper who noticed a missing license plate on his yellow Mercury Marquise. Timothy McVeigh had concealed weapon and was arrested. He was just 90 minutes after the bombing. Now, there's a lot more to that little snippet. There was a lot of time that passed. It's not like, that very day that, we got him, it's over with and whatever, if you remember correctly. There was, a few days and that added up to be, we can't find this guy. We're hunting everywhere. And he had been sitting in jail while that was going on. And because they didn't find him right away. Well, they didn't know right away that he was in jail. I remember that very clearly. So I know that he might have been picked up 90 minutes after the bombing, but the police, knowing that he was in jail, well, they didn't know that right away because there were several days of hunting for him. And they couldn't find him. And you couldn't find him because he was in jail. Agents found traces of the chemicals used in the explosion on McVeigh's clothes and on a business card for which McVeigh had suspiciously scribbled TNT at $5 a stick, need more. They learned about McVeigh's extremist ideologies and his anger over the events at Waco 2 years earlier. They discovered that a friend of McVeigh's named Terry Nichols helped build the bomb, and that another man, Michael Fortier, was aware of the bomb bomb plot. Sorry, hard. So to talk about with this Terry Nichols helped build it, and Michael Fortier uh, is another person that's involved in it. Timothy McVeigh hated on the government, and it intensified with him in '93 after an armored standoff at Waco. That really kind of changed it a lot with a lot of people. Waco did. That incident at Waco resulted in the death of 76 people. And McVeigh went to Waco to just to Waco during the standoff and handed out anti-government literature. So this is there's some more things that the public just doesn't know about Timothy McVeigh and some of his connection with Waco. Um, who would have thought? Just some guy in Oklahoma went to Waco and handed out literature. Now you got all kind of cops and FBI and all that around there, and they wasn't arresting him or nothing for him handing out anti-government literature. What is anti-government literature? Is it that you're telling a fib, or you telling the truth about what your government's doing? That's how this always turns out, you know. And you have to read for yourself to find that truth out. You can't just let somebody else tell you, and you can't sit like a blind sheep either. The bombing was quickly solved, but the investigation turned out to be one of the most exhaustive in the FBI history. No stone was left unturned, and to make sure every clue was found, all the culprits were identified. And when they identified all these men, you start getting a different look at things. These men were present at Waco, not in Waco, but around the outside of it, handed out anti government literature. So when these men come up later, you already know who they are. Or you really want to believe the CIA didn't have these guys' names taken down and didn't have information on them? Okay, well, you have the right to believe that, and other people have the right to believe other things. Just by the time this was over, the Bureau had conducted more than 28,000 interviews, followed some 43,000 investigative leads, amassed 3.5 tons of evidence, and reviewed nearly a billion pieces of information. Hmm. Wow. They collected more than 3 tons of evidence, searched more than 13.2 million hotel registration records, reviewed more than 3.1 million truck rental records. I have no idea why. They had the man, they know where the truck came from. There's a lot of stuff. And in the end, the government that McVeigh hated and hoped to topple swiftly captured him and convincingly convicted him and his conspirators. Hmm. These are the chairs. I don't really know why they're chairs, but they put it out for um, as a memorial for the people who died. Some people thought the explosion was a gas explosion, and a lot of people didn't think it was, especially when it went off. Like a special agent Jim Norman was at his desk, and he was within 5 miles of the Murray building, and it shook everything in the office. If I'm not mistaken, there is a FBI, office in the building. So, let's not forget, that still being left a lot of stuff out. Um, I'm not leaving it out, but like, there's just a lot of more that should be told. The building was 200 feet wide and 80 feet deep. You know, head of the Federal Employee Credit Union was on the third floor. She was seated at her desk. They were having a business meeting when the bomb went off. At what time? 9:02. No matter how they try to turn it, they always. Why do you have all this evidence and still not share it with America? You know? Still don't share it with America. April 19th. It's going to go down in history as it always has. But well, I wanted to hold on. I wanted to give you a visual of how all this came about, because I could sit here and talk about it. But unless you get a good on the ground feeling for it, it may not affect you as much. So I did find a film that I'm going to play. First, before I do that, I'm going to put up my disclaimer for copyright disclaimer, because this is for fair use and it's for reporting and education about the Oklahoma City bombing. And we're allowed to use it just to educate everybody. I do want to put a trigger warning on it. It may have graphic images that some of us find disturbing. If you have to get away from it, I totally understand. I hope this explains a lot more about the case to you, or gives you a visual. I don't know. Some people are visual people, and some people are not. And I feel like to get the whole context of this event, we need visual. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Oklahoma City lies at the geographic heart of the country. More small town than big city, it's probably the last place you'd pick to be targeted for destruction. Then came the morning of April 19th, 1995.
Good morning. In this proceeding with regard to application 95-501 for a groundwater permit, we'll present evidence from the applicant. With regard to this proceeding, there are 4 elements that I have to receive information regarding.
Smoke and debris and fire on the ground. We'll have to back around to the other side so I can get a better view of it. Wow, holy cow. About a third of the building has been blown away.
It was staggering, the potential casualties and deaths.
And I remember saying, God, I don't want to die today.
It was a terrifying attack
I was so hoping that it was not an American.
that left an entire nation disillusioned.
It was an act of cowardice, and it was evil.
It was a game changer.
It remains the worst act of domestic terrorism in American history, perpetrated by one of our own, a decorated Army veteran of the First Gulf War. The Oklahoma City bombing, next.
Let's go. Tammy, you can see thick black smoke billowing from the federal court building downtown.
We are seeing literally dozens of people that are bleeding. Some of them you can't even make them out. They are so badly injured.
The impact was immediate and nationwide.
An explosion in Oklahoma City with worldwide implications and enormous consequences.
The bombing has sent shockwaves through Washington. There is increased security nationwide.
The Pentagon has activated its emergency disaster response.
It could be a contractor, it could be a wacko, it could be a professional. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to create this kind of bomb.
As the smoke began to clear, 2 questions reverberated across the country. Who and why? The answers would be shocking. The man behind the devastation was an American. His name, Timothy McVeigh.
Tim McVeigh was one of ours. He was a war hero. He grew up in the suburbs of Buffalo, and we needed to know. There was a sense, an obligation to find out who this man was.
Timothy McVeigh was born on April 23, 1968, in the town of Lockport in upstate New York. By all accounts, he had an ordinary childhood and adolescence.
We were never told anything that would have gave you warning that he was going to do something like this. In fact, as a teenager, he was the young man that people in the neighborhood would choose to babysit their kids.
He was a good student, he was bright, above average intelligence. Sometimes you look at the history of severe criminal conduct and there is childhood abuse or abandonment, and you can see how someone developed into it.
Nothing striking in McVeigh's background.
But the young McVeigh did have a dark side. While still a teenager, he had discovered The Turner Diaries, a venomously racist novel about an armed insurrection led by white supremacists against an oppressive federal government.
It describes a truck bombing of FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. shortly after 9 in the morning, sounding very similar to what took place in Oklahoma City on April 19th, 1995.
If Timothy McVeigh was looking to make a statement, then he had succeeded in the worst way possible.
Debris, glass, it looks as though emergency crews are on the scene.
The incredible explosion that ripped apart the 9-story Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building hit with the force of roughly 2 tons of TNT. The air inside was whipped into a churning tornado of glass shards and choking black smoke. One floor pancaked onto the next, crushing and trapping men, women, and children below. The second floor held a daycare center. The lucky ones staggered into the street, some barely alive.
Standing by. What the heck happened?
I saw a yellow flash, and then everything went pitch black.
The force of the blast bent me over my desk.
The whole back of the building just fell in on us. Everyone along our set of offices had back injuries, head injuries, neck, bleeding, glass.
I felt pain on my left side of my face and popping noises, and it was the glass.
Oh, hello everybody. I'm back already. YouTube was not gonna let me show you.
It's not back yet. Hold on. You gotta wait a minute and then I'll let you know when.
Yeah, Squirrel's checking out, let me know. As of right now, I can see the video here, but I did see that.
They can't hear you.
What?
They can't hear you. You have to wait a minute. Your stream is unavailable on YouTube. You have to just sit there a minute until I say it's back.
Wait, yeah, you should have told me that. I thought you said
No.
talk.
You have to wait a minute. I'll let you know. YouTube don't want you to show it.
Okay, it's off the screen.
I know, we're waiting on YouTube, not you. It takes a minute sometimes.
I wish they'd come on so I could talk. What's it doing?
Right now, I refreshed, it's loading. Hold on. Yeah, you're still not back yet.
I don't know what
It takes a minute because you know this happens when Natasha does stuff, so it just takes a minute. Okay, you're back.
Okay. Looks like we got our film disrupted. YouTube doesn't want us to show American history. So yeah. It's kind of surprising, all the crap that I see on YouTube. And this is American history. This is something that's educational. So that's bullshit. That they don't want you to learn about what has happened in our history. So I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to show you the complete video, but if you go online and look for Timothy McVeigh, you will be able to watch it on your own. I'm sorry. There's no way they're going to let me show it to you, which is crap. It's American history. Happened in our country. Happened to our people. It's not fake. It's not made up. What? It's too gruesome. If it happened to our people, it can't be too gruesome. It's called reality. Reality is seeing what people did to us. That's like saying you can't show a World War II movie because people got killed. Well, it's a war movie. And isn't this a type of war? Yeah, it is. That is very disturbing to know that we cannot talk about our history. The history of a maniac. The history of a degenerate that went wrong. But I guess they'll let you watch Waco, right? Maybe. I don't know. Seems like all the things you need to watch to better prepare yourself, they don't want you to see. That really kind of blows my mind with the amount of crap I see people put on YouTube. Huh. But you know what I say? Hold on.
We just kept following. It was a horrible noise. Horrible noise.
And I remember.
You have the right to see this as an American citizen of what happened in this country on your land. So if I have to stop it every 4 or 5 minutes and just say something, I'm going to let you see as much as I can let you see.
We're saying, God, I don't want to die today, and I don't want to die in this building. And if it's all right with you, I'd like to die later.
Felt like an earthquake. Something actually shook our television station. That's 5 miles away.
In those first frantic minutes, no one was quite sure what had caused the explosion.
Initially, we thought it might have been a gas explosion because we had to evacuate the office 2 or 3 weeks.
Give me 1 second, guys. Letting it play a few minutes and see what happens.
Because there was a gas leak downtown.
I thought that a war had started. I thought that Oklahoma City had been bombed, that we had been attacked by another country.
I thought that the explosion was an atomic blast from Tinker Air Force Base.
I was trying to make sense out of it. I did not think it was a bomb.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the whole stop-start thing ain't gonna work. They're not gonna let you.
I don't understand. No, I don't understand because this is American history.
I know it. That's why a lot of people hate YouTube because you can't. You can play basically stuff that's almost porn and you could get away with it, but then you play like stuff like this and YouTube is like, oh no, I'm sorry, you can't play that. It don't make no sense.
But why?
because YouTube don't make no sense and it's run by robots. It's run by AI. They just scan it. No real people look at YouTube.
This makes no sense. Because if you show World War II movies, people get killed. Desert Storm, people get killed. This is American history right here.
I know. Yeah, there's no sound or nothing. It's just.
But let me know when it's back.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. I just happened to. It was on when I closed it and came in here just a second ago, and then I sat down and looked at my computer and saw it was off. So. That's why when Natasha plays music and stuff and this happens, and she said finally just says, because you can only play like 2 seconds and then they're like, nope, nope, nope. And each time you play it, the time that they do this gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So I don't know why that. I don't know why that YouTube does this kind of stuff.
That makes no sense. Because it's American history.
I know. I don't know why they. I don't know.
Well, let me know.
I will.
I'm keeping my lines open so if somebody can hear me, they can hear me.
Back.
Okay, we're back again. I'm glad to know that. Well, the little babies of uneducated people or uneducated AI or whatever at YouTube, they're not going to let me show you the whole thing. So you guys are going to have to go, unfortunately, to see the rest of it. You search for it. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube somewhere and play it. It is totally wrong for them to shut our video down. It's American history. You can read about it in school books. You can do a lot of things. That's just my thing. This is not really freedom of speech right here, I would say. Would you say, Squirrel?
No.
I mean, we're trying to cover a subject that happened in American history. Unfortunately, it's a fabric, tied into our fabric of the flag, of the soil, of the ground, of people, of America. And we're not allowed to educate people on what happened. I don't get that. I understand other people getting shut down with their trashy stuff. But I don't understand shutting down educational. I even put up a disclaimer for that very reason. So, with that said, I tried, you guys. I'll try to do better on the next one, but I'm not going to be just not going to hold in my beliefs. I fought for the right to free speech. I fought for the right for the Second Amendment. I fought for all the rights of this country, and I'm not going to be put down for it my own self. I'm just going to keep doing them. And that's just how it is. This is America. And I'm going to let freedom ring. Until we meet again, have a great day, and God bless you all.